What happens when a royal guest mistakes a talk show stage for a throne room? In just 40 seconds, one comment would shatter the politeness of daytime television and send shockwaves through the studio. This is the story of how a simple interview turned into an explosive confrontation that ended with security escorting a duchess out of the building. Jennifer Hudson sat in her chair, smiling warmly at the camera as the audience applauded. Her show had become known for heartfelt conversations, uplifting stories, and genuine connections with guests. Today was supposed to be no different. Meghan Markle walked onto the stage in a cream-colored designer dress, waving elegantly to the crowd. The audience cheered. Jennifer stood to greet her, arms open for a hug. "Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here," Jennifer said, her voice full of genuine enthusiasm. Meghan accepted the hug, but her smile seemed tight, practiced. She settled into the guest chair, crossing her legs and adjusting her dress with careful precision. "Thank you for having me," Meghan said, her tone cordial but measured. Jennifer sat back down, glancing at her notes. "So I have to say, I've been looking forward to this conversation. There's so much I want to ask you about your journey, your experiences, everything you've been through." "Of course," Meghan replied, tilting her head slightly. "Though I do hope we can keep things, let's say, appropriate." Jennifer's smile flickered for just a moment. "Appropriate? Well, yes, of course. I always aim to have respectful conversations here." "Good," Meghan said, her voice carrying an edge that hadn't been there moments before. "Because I've done interviews where the questions were simply beneath me. I trust that won't be the case today." The audience shifted in their seats. A few nervous laughs rippled through the crowd. Jennifer maintained her composure, her years of experience kicking in. "Well, I can assure you, I'm just here to have an honest conversation," Jennifer said gently. "Let's start with something simple. You've been very vocal about your experiences with media scrutiny. Can you tell us how you've managed to stay strong through all of that?" Meghan leaned back in her chair, a slight smile playing on her lips. "You know, Jennifer, strength is something you either have or you don't. Some people are born with it. Others spend their whole lives searching for it." That's an interesting perspective," Jennifer said, nodding slowly. "And what about the people who supported you through those difficult times?" "Support?" Meghan let out a small laugh. "I've learned that true support is rare. Most people claim they're there for you, but when it really matters, they disappear. They can't handle being around someone of my, well, caliber." Jennifer's eyebrows raised slightly. "Your caliber?" "Yes," Meghan said matter-of-factly. "Look, not everyone can understand what it's like to live at my level. The pressures, the expectations, the constant spotlight. Most people in this industry are just trying to get attention. Some of us actually matter." The audience fell silent. Jennifer shifted in her seat, her professional demeanor beginning to show cracks. "I think a lot of people in this industry work incredibly hard," Jennifer said, her voice still calm but firmer now. "Everyone has their own journey, their own struggles." Meghan waved her hand dismissively. Sure. Everyone wants to believe their story is important. But let's be realistic here. There are levels to this. There's a difference between someone who's actually changed the world and someone who just, I don't know, sings songs or acts in movies. Jennifer's jaw tightened. The audience gasped audibly. A few people whispered to each other, shocked at what they were hearing. "Excuse me?" Jennifer said, her voice dropping lower. "Oh, don't take it personally," Meghan said with a patronizing smile. "I'm just saying that entertainment is, well, it's entertainment. What I've done, the platforms I've used, the conversations I've started, that's legacy. That's impact." Jennifer set her note cards down on the small table beside her chair. "You know what, Meghan? I think there might be some confusion here. This show celebrates all kinds of people. Teachers, activists, artists, performers, everyday heroes. Everyone has value. Everyone's story matters." Of course you'd say that, Meghan replied, examining her nails casually. It's your show. You have to make everyone feel special. But we both know that's not reality. Some people are just more significant than others. That's not what I believe at all, Jennifer said, her voice rising slightly. And I don't think that's what my audience believes either. The crowd erupted in applause, supporting their host. Meghan looked around at the audience with a bemused expression, as if she couldn't understand why they were clapping. Are we really doing this? Meghan asked, turning back to Jennifer. Are you actually trying to lecture me about significance? About impact? Do you know who I am? Do you know what I've been through? I know exactly who you are, Jennifer said firmly. And I invited you here because I thought we could have a meaningful conversation. But if you're going to sit in that chair and disrespect me, disrespect my career, and disrespect everyone who works in this industry, then maybe this wasn't a good idea. Meghan's expression hardened. Disrespect? I'm simply stating facts. You're the one getting emotional about it. I'm not emotional, Jennifer said, maintaining eye contact. I'm clear. And what's clear to me is that you came on this show with an agenda that has nothing to do with having a real conversation. My agenda? Meghan laughed sharply. My agenda is to speak my truth. If you can't handle that, maybe you're not ready for guests of my stature. The audience booed. Several people stood up, shaking their heads. Jennifer raised her hand to calm the crowd. Okay, let's try this differently, Jennifer said, taking a deep breath. Why don't we talk about your charity work? The causes you care about? Meghan's face brightened slightly. Now, that's a better question. Yes, my humanitarian efforts are something I'm very proud of. Unlike most celebrities who just post on social media for likes, I actually do the work. I get my hands dirty. Well, not literally dirty, but you know what I mean. Right, Jennifer said slowly. And what would you say to other people who want to get involved in charitable work? Honestly, Meghan leaned forward. I'd say, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Don't just do it because it makes you look good. Do it because you're special enough, important enough, to actually make a difference. Not everyone is cut out for that kind of responsibility. Jennifer closed her eyes for a moment, as if gathering patience. So, you think only certain people should help others? I think only certain people can truly help others, Meghan corrected. It takes a certain type of person. Someone with vision, with presence, with, dare I say, royal qualities. Royal qualities? Jennifer repeated flatly. Yes, Meghan said proudly. Not everyone has them. You're either born with that grace and dignity, or you're not. And if you're not, well, that's fine. The world needs regular people too. Someone has to be the audience. The crowd erupted in outrage. People shouted at the stage. Jennifer held up both hands, asking for quiet. Meghan, I'm going to be very direct with you right now, Jennifer said, her voice steady, but filled with barely contained frustration. This is my show. These are my audience members. They are not just regular people. They are doctors, nurses, teachers, parents, workers, dreamers. They are the heartbeat of this country, and I will not sit here and let you diminish them. Oh, please, Meghan scoffed. You're being so dramatic. I'm just being honest. Isn't that what talk shows are supposed to be about? Honesty? Honesty, yes, Jennifer said. Arrogance and condescension, no. There's a difference between speaking your truth and looking down on everyone around you. Meghan stood up abruptly, her microphone still clipped to her dress. You know what? I don't have to sit here and be attacked like this. I came here as a favor to you, to give your little show some credibility, and this is how you treat me? A favor? Jennifer stood up too, facing her guest. You came here because your team reached out to my team. Multiple times, I might add. Nobody forced you to be here. I certainly wouldn't have come if I'd known I'd be ambushed, Meghan shot back. Ambushed? Jennifer's voice rose. I asked you normal questions. You're the one who started insulting everyone in this room. The audience cheered loudly, chanting Jennifer's name. Meghan looked around, her face flushing red. "This is ridiculous," Meghan said, reaching for her microphone to remove it. "I don't need this. I have actual important things to do." "Then do them," Jennifer said firmly, "because this interview is over." "You can't end the interview," Meghan said sharply. "I end the interview when I'm ready." "This is my show," Jennifer said, her voice calm but absolute. "And I'm ending it now. You need to leave." Meghan's mouth fell open. "Excuse me? You're kicking me off?" "Yes," Jennifer said without hesitation. "I'm asking you to leave my stage." "You can't do that," Meghan sputtered. "Do you know who I am? Do you have any idea the kind of backlash you'll face for this?" "I know exactly who you are," Jennifer said, crossing her arms. "And I don't care about backlash. What I care about is respect. Respect for my show, respect for my audience, and respect for myself. You've shown none of those things." Meghan's face contorted with anger. "This is unbelievable. I've been on shows with real hosts, real journalists, people who actually matter in this industry, and they treated me with the dignity I deserve." "Then go back to those shows," Jennifer said calmly, "because you're not welcome here anymore." The audience stood up, applauding wildly. Meghan looked around, clearly expecting someone to come to her defense. When no one did, she yanked the microphone off her dress, nearly tearing the fabric. "Fine," Meghan snapped. "I don't need this. I don't need you. I don't need any of this." "Great," Jennifer said. "The door's that way." But Meghan didn't move toward the exit. Instead, she stepped closer to Jennifer, her voice dropping to a harsh whisper that the microphone still picked up. "You're making a huge mistake," Meghan hissed. "I have connections. I have influence. You have no idea what you've just done." Jennifer didn't flinch. "What I've done is stand up for myself and my audience. If that's a mistake, then I'll live with it." "You'll regret this," Meghan said, her finger pointed at Jennifer's face. "Mark my words, you'll regret this." "Security," Jennifer called out, not breaking eye contact with Meghan. "Can we please escort our guest out?" 2 security personnel appeared from the wings of the stage. They approached carefully, professionally. "Ma'am, we need you to come with us," one of the security guards said politely. Meghan whirled on them. "Don't touch me. Do not put your hands on me. Do you know who I am?" "Yes, ma'am," the guard said patiently. "But we need you to leave the premises now." "This is assault," Meghan declared loudly. "Everyone's seeing this. This is assault. I'm being physically removed for speaking my truth." "Nobody's assaulting you," Jennifer said wearily. "They're just walking you out because you refuse to leave on your own." Meghan grabbed her purse from beside the guest chair, nearly knocking over a glass of water on the side table. "You're all going to hear about this. My lawyers will be in touch. This isn't over." "Yes, it is," Jennifer said simply. "It's very much over." The security guards positioned themselves on either side of Meghan, not touching her, but making it clear they were prepared to, if necessary. Meghan shot one final glare at Jennifer before turning sharply and walking toward the exit. Her heels clicked loudly on the studio floor as she moved. "I hope you enjoy your irrelevant little show," Meghan called over her shoulder, "because without real guests like me, that's all it'll ever be. Irrelevant." "I think we'll be just fine," Jennifer called back, her voice strong and clear. Meghan reached the edge of the stage and stopped, turning back one more time. "You could have been associated with greatness today. You could have had someone truly special on your show. Instead, you chose to be petty and small." "No," Jennifer said, shaking her head. "I chose to be respectful. Something you clearly don't understand." With that, Meghan turned and stormed off the stage, the security guards following close behind. The audience erupted in cheers, standing and applauding Jennifer. Some people were crying. Others were hugging their neighbors. The energy in the room was electric. Jennifer stood there for a moment, processing what had just happened. She ran her hand through her hair and let out a long breath. Then she turned to the audience and smiled, a real, genuine smile. "Well," Jennifer said, and the audience laughed. That was something." The crowd roared with approval. People were on their feet, clapping, whistling, shouting words of support. "You know what?" Jennifer continued, her voice thick with emotion. "I started this show because I wanted to create a space where everyone feels valued, where everyone's story matters, where kindness and respect come first. And I meant that. I will always mean that." The applause grew even louder. Someone in the front row shouted, "We love you, Jennifer." "I love you too," Jennifer said, pressing her hand to her heart. "All of you. And I want you to know that nobody, I don't care who they are or what title they have, nobody is going to come into this space and make any of you feel less than. Not on my watch." The audience went wild. The energy was overwhelming, powerful, emotional. Jennifer wiped at her eyes, clearly moved by the support. "We're going to take a quick break," Jennifer said, composing herself. "And when we come back, we're going to do what we do best. We're going to celebrate real people with real stories, people who lift others up instead of tearing them down." The audience applauded as the show cut to commercial. Behind the scenes, production staff rushed to Jennifer's side, asking if she was okay, if she needed anything. Jennifer assured them she was fine. Better than fine, actually. "That was the most honest moment I've ever had on television," Jennifer told her producer, who was still looking worried. "And I'd do it again in a heartbeat." The producer nodded, though concern still showed on their face. "We're probably going to get some calls about this." "Let them call," Jennifer said firmly. "I stand by what I did." She crossed every line there is. In the hallway backstage, Meghan was still arguing with security. Her voice carried through the corridor as she demanded to speak to someone in charge, insisted this was all a misunderstanding, claimed she was the victim of an orchestrated attack. "Ma'am, your car is waiting outside," one of the security guards said, maintaining professional calm despite Meghan's raised voice. "I'm not leaving until someone apologizes to me," Meghan insisted. "This is unacceptable. Do you understand? Unacceptable." "I understand you're upset," the guard said, "but you need to leave the building now." "I want to speak to the network executives," Meghan demanded. "Get them on the phone right now." "That's not something we can arrange," the guard replied. "You'll need to contact them through the proper channels." Meghan's publicist appeared, phone pressed to their ear, looking stressed and exhausted. They grabbed Meghan's arm, trying to guide her toward the exit. "We need to go," the publicist said urgently. "Now, please." "Don't tell me what to do," Meghan snapped, pulling her arm away. "You work for me, remember? And I'm telling you, as someone who works for you, we need to leave immediately," the publicist insisted. Finally, after several more minutes of protests and complaints, Meghan allowed herself to be escorted to the waiting car. She climbed into the back seat, slamming the door hard enough to make the vehicle shake. Back in the studio, the show resumed. Jennifer welcomed her next guest, a teacher from a local elementary school who had created an innovative reading program for struggling students. The conversation was warm, uplifting, and filled with genuine admiration and respect. The audience loved it. Jennifer loved it. This was what her show was supposed to be. During the commercial breaks, audience members came up to Jennifer, hugging her, thanking her for standing up for them, for speaking truth to arrogance. One elderly woman held Jennifer's hands and said, "You made us all proud today. Don't you ever forget that." Jennifer wouldn't forget. This day would stay with her forever. Not because of the conflict, but because of what it represented. It was a line in the sand, a declaration that respect and kindness matter more than celebrity or status or perceived importance. The crew worked efficiently to keep the show running smoothly, but everyone could feel the shift in energy. What had started as a potentially disastrous episode had transformed into something powerful, something meaningful. The audience had witnessed their host refuse to be diminished, refused to let anyone diminish them. It was television at its most real, most human. most necessary. As the show wrapped up, Jennifer addressed the camera directly during her closing remarks. She didn't mention Meghan by name, didn't rehash the confrontation, didn't fuel the drama. Instead, she spoke from the heart. "Today reminded me why I do this," Jennifer said, looking straight into the lens. "It's not about the famous guests or the glamorous moments. It's about connection. It's about respect. It's about recognizing that every single person has value, has worth, has something important to contribute to this world. And I will never stop fighting for that. Never." The audience rose to their feet one final time, applauding until their hands hurt. Jennifer smiled, waved, and blew kisses to the crowd as the show's theme music played. The camera pulled back slowly, capturing the entire studio, the standing ovation, the pure emotion of the moment. In the control room, the director and producers watched their monitors in awe. They had just witnessed television history, an unscripted moment of truth that would be talked about for years to come. Not because it was sensational or shocking for shock value, but because it mattered. It meant something. Jennifer left the stage and headed to her dressing room, finally allowing herself to fully process everything that had happened. She sat down on the couch, kicked off her heels, and let out a long, exhausted sigh. Her phone was already buzzing with messages, calls, notifications. She ignored them all for now. There was a knock on the door. Her producer poked their head in. "You okay?" they asked softly. Jennifer nodded. "Yeah, I'm good. Really good, actually." "That was incredible," the producer said. "Scary, but incredible. You handled it perfectly." "I just couldn't let it slide," Jennifer said. Not the way she was talking. Not what she was saying about people. "I know," the producer said. "And you did the right thing. 100% the right thing." They talked for a few more minutes about logistics, about statements that might need to be prepared, about how to handle the inevitable media attention. But mostly, they just sat together, processing the weight of what had occurred. Outside the studio, a crowd had gathered, having heard through social media that something dramatic had happened during the taping. News vans were setting up. Reporters were preparing their cameras. Everyone wanted to know what had transpired behind those walls. But inside, in that dressing room, Jennifer was at peace. She had stayed true to herself, to her values, to her audience. She had drawn a line and refused to let it be crossed. And in doing so, she had reminded everyone watching that dignity and respect are not negotiable, no matter who's asking you to compromise them. The day would become legendary in talk show history, not for the spectacle of the confrontation, but for the clarity of the message. Some people are born with titles, with privilege, with platforms. But character, real character, is something you choose. Every day, in every interaction, you choose who you're going to be. Jennifer had chosen, and her audience, her crew, and eventually, the world would know exactly where she stood.